Welcome to the Herd's official YouTube channel. Make sure to like and subscribe. Don't forget to check out the Colin Cowherd podcast, all of our NFL instant reactions, and more football content.
I know it was windy in Denver, but 10 first downs and 11 penalties.
Not great for your guy.
Not great for Bo Nix. So if Sean Payton is your head coach, PFF says you have the best offensive line in football. It's the Raiders' defense. You have two very capable running backs. Good wide receiver core. Great, I don't know, good. You got to do better than 10 first downs. Right now, this team has 10 more punts this year than Cleveland. In my opinion, Bo Nix looks nervous. That's why he's so bad in the first half. It's like he's trying to please Sean Payton, feels the weight of the world on his shoulders. He is nervous. Side-arming stuff, feels rushed when he's not rushed, skipping balls out of the backfield. Like, I get throws downfield were tough last night for both quarterbacks. It was windy. Denver gets that way. We're moving into the winter. But it shouldn't look like that. He looks nervous. He looks like he's got a lot of anxiety, and he only plays well most of this year in the fourth quarter when he trails and has nothing to lose. He just lets it go. Sean Payton now is trying to protect Bo Nix, and so he's making some odd compensation calls, like that double pass on 3rd and 1. It's just a bad call. Well, Sean Payton didn't get dumb. He's trying to protect him. He knows that Bo Nix is not right upstairs. And because this Raider defense hasn't made any quarterback look that bad this year. So the Broncos have 1 touchdown in their last 17 drives. They have more 3-and-outs than the Titans. Yeah. So I'm dead serious here. Sean Payton is a very impatient guy. He also understands the urgency at quarterback, unlike a lot of coaches in this league. I wonder, because the roster, the O-line set, the D-line set, the pass rush, the receivers, would Sean Payton draft another quarterback? I'm dead serious. Bo Nix has regressed badly. His completion percentage is now towing that backup quarterback line from 66.5 to 60. His passer rating has plummeted, mid-90s to mid-80s. He's going to have more turnovers this year. Again, he is a significantly worse quarterback this year than last. And I understand quarterback development is not linear. I think it was Peyton Manning who suddenly had a really bad 4th year in the league. I get it. You lose a coordinator, you lose an offensive lineman, but this O-line's great. And we thought with Bo Nix, he was one of these high floor, low ceiling guys. We knew he didn't have like Caleb Williams horsepower, but he was a high floor guy. At worst, he'd be like B-ish. This is D-ish. That O-line, that play caller, those running backs, and remember this, Denver's defense is staggeringly good and aggressive. So Bo Nix, on average, is getting much better field position than quarterbacks in the league. I mean, last night, you're getting really good field position. So I've gone from a buy to a hold to a potential sell on Bo Nix. I got 7 straight weeks of this stuff. And that last night was a problem. And Denver's had an easy schedule. So now Kansas City comes up off a bye. I don't care what the number is. Take the Chiefs. Because this is a problem that's not getting better. We got DEFCON 3 here. What's DEFCON 3? Increased readiness? I really look at this, and I wonder if Sean Payton is talking to George, the GM, and saying, we got a stacked roster here. We don't have a lot of needs. There's like 7 quarterbacks in the first couple of rounds. We may want to roll the dice on them and sit them behind Bo for a year. I think you're to that point. Over and over and over. I mean, if you put Josh Allen, Lamar, Herbert, Mahomes, there's like 7, 8 quarterbacks, Goff behind this group, this coach, this line. Look at that offensive line. You'd be blowing people out. The Raiders are a lost franchise. Here's Bo Nix after a messy performance.
You'll win a lot of games with a defense playing like that. And then tonight we had a little spark with some special teams plays. And then, we just at some point we got to start moving the football and scoring points. I've been booed before and I'll be booed again, so not going to be the last time. It's obviously unfortunate. You don't want your own fans booing you, but, it's part of it.
Yeah, I know the win was bad. It wasn't that bad. Let's talk Raiders briefly. When you pursue Geno Smith, the Raiders gave up a third-round pick and paid him $66 million guaranteed. The Seahawks got Sam Darnold for no picks. He was a free agent and only pay him $55 million guaranteed. Seattle's John Snyder, really smart, really good personnel guy. The Raiders, they overpaid, over-pursued Geno Smith, who once again leads the NFL in picks. I mean, he can't figure out basic pass protection. It's bad. And right now, he's arguably the worst quarterback in the league. The last 2 years, Geno Smith has 7 more interceptions than the next highest interception quarterback. So it's one thing to settle at quarterback. You should never settle at quarterback. It's another to pursue the wrong one. And I understand sometimes you draft a quarterback and you don't really know how it's going to pan out because it's college football to pro. Geno has been in the league as long as I've been at Fox. You got a lot of tape on me. You got a lot of tape on Geno. You got to know after all these years in the league what a guy is and what a guy isn't. The smart GMs are not pursuing, surrendering a third-round pick. The Raiders could have had Darnold. Nobody in the world thinks Geno's better than Darnold. So, and the other thing is, Brock Bowers, as far as I can tell, I don't have the game film, is open on every play. How does he have 1 reception? I don't even understand it. So Pete Carroll had a full year away from football to modernize, to reflect, to look in the mirror, to take stock, to evaluate everything. And he went back to Geno Smith. That ain't good. You're going, that's old school Geno Smith. 27 picks in the last 2 years, 7 more than the next guy. So the Raiders have earned 4th place. In the modern NFL, if you are tone deaf to quarterback, you're tone deaf to winning. And again, it's not like Geno didn't have a resume. You didn't need to go to West Virginia sophomore year to look at film. You could have gone to last year. And Pete had a year off to reflect. Offensively, I don't even know what the Raiders are. Here's Pete after.
We're not scoring enough points. Yeah, I agree with you guys. That's about as obvious as you can get. The running game would have helped us in that regard, but Chip was trying. He was staying with the running game to try to not let them tee off on us, we got to score more.
Yeah, you never want to settle at quarterback. A lot of these defensive coaches, they're like, Sam Howell, Mitch Trubisky. It's another to pursue $66 million guaranteed and a third-round pick to pursue Geno, who's been in the league forever and is a turnover machine. So you earned your spot in 4th place. Denver's a different story. Bo Nix was young. It's college, good rookie year. You think he's going to grow. Something's happened. He looks nervous. That's a different feel. You do feel like, how do they right the ship? It was so ascending last year. Raiders are just, why? How? Well, what a life it is for Chicago Bear fans. A winning record, favored at home against a team that has struggled to score. I was thinking about this. I'm watching Bo Nix last night, 3 and out, 3 and out, 3 and out. After watching Bo Nix for the last 8 weeks, after watching Jaden Daniels get hurt for the 4th time in a year and a half, after watching J.J. McCarthy in a year and a half have 2 good quarters, and watching Penix in Atlanta struggling to score, can we just now say that Drake Maye of New England and Caleb Williams of Chicago are the 2 best quarterbacks from the 2024 class? They're both, big playmakers, strong, can make plays with their feet, big arms, and big bodies that don't get hurt. Through 8 games with Ben Johnson, let's pull back and look at the truth. Chicago leads the NFL in big plays. They are 4th in yards per play. They're top 5 in total offense. Yeah, some of it's Ben Johnson schemes. Some of it's Caleb Williams. And unlike Bo Nix, and I'm watching last night and I'm thinking, unlike Bo Nix, who has regressed, what was the one thing I worried about Caleb? You gotta cut the sacks in half. He has. He's never thrown interceptions. He didn't throw them at USC, didn't throw them last year. He doesn't throw interceptions. He holds the ball too long, but he doesn't turn it over. Passer rating up, sacks down, passing yards per game up. So he's ascending. And it's Ben Johnson. All the great quarterbacks, Bradshaw had Knoll, Marino had Shula, Elway had Shanahan, Stafford's got McVay, Aikman had Jimmy Johnson, Breeze had Payton. Folks, all the quarterbacks that succeed in this league have great coaches. There's nobody, from a test tube that just does everything themselves. Everybody's got a kingmaker. So if Ben Johnson's his kingmaker, so be it. But I look at Drake Maye and Caleb right now. Their body, they're thick, they're big, they're playmakers, they can move. They throw bad picks. Drake Maye throws bad picks. And sometimes Caleb operationally gets out of sorts. But it's like looking at the economy. I'm not an economist, but the inflation's down, unemployment's low, the stock market up 10.5%. You could probably zoom into sectors and be apocalyptic and panicky, but we have a gigantic economy, and from 33,000 feet, I think it's okay. I think it's okay, right? It's a big economy that overcame a pandemic. If you pull out on Caleb, yards per play, big plays, rushing, dynamic downfield throws, pull out. You can look at individual drives. You can look at individual throws. But when you pull out, you're like, that's pretty good numbers. I mean, last year to this year, touchdown more a game, almost 100 yards, total yards per game. Rushing's better, passing's better. There's clear growth, dynamic results. He and Drake Maye look like those are the two stars. Here's Ben Johnson on the growth.
I do think he's getting better every week. There's ups and there's downs, and some weeks are better than others, which we knew. But he's a lot better place now with his process than he was to start the season. The week isn't necessarily smooth sailing always, but I think that's to be expected with year one in a new system. So he's learning and he's spent a lot of time at it. So I'm very pleased with his approach. I think we're going to continue to see him take off here second half of the season.
Yeah. I mean, it's not linear with these young quarterbacks. But if you have the right whenever I hear this, well, it's Ben Johnson. Every great quarterback has a Hall of Fame level coach. And if they don't, the coach gets fired and they go find one. Mahomes has Andy Reid. Andy Reid gets credit too, but it's Mahomes. He's pulling the trigger.
Today's show is brought to you by our new presenting sponsor, Hard Rock Bet. This is that golden time of the year when it's not just pro football, NBA, college football, college hoops, hockey, all share the stage. There's always something to bet on. If you haven't tried your first bet on Hard Rock Bet yet, there's still time to get $150 in bonus bets if you win. All you have to do is place $5 bet. That's it, $5. If it hits, you not only get your winnings, but $150 in extra bonus bets. And if you're looking for an edge before you lock in, check out the Hard Rock Bet Stats Hub. Trends, it's loaded with streaks, stats to help guide your picks. So numbers don't lie, neither does the data in there. The Hard Rock Bet app sportsbook, it's the only legal sportsbook for whenever you're in Florida. It's also live in Arizona, Ohio, New Jersey, Indiana, Tennessee, Virginia, Illinois, Colorado, coming soon to more states. Plus, Hard Rock Bet offers new promos every single day. So whenever you're listening, just open the app, check out what you've got any day of the week. Download the Hard Rock Bet app and make your first deposit.
So a very interesting game. Minnesota hosts Baltimore. Lamar Jackson owns the NFC. But over the next month, starting this Sunday, the truth's going to come out on J.J. McCarthy. No more hand-holding. Baltimore, Chicago, Green Bay, Seattle can all score points. There's going to be some shootouts, and they're going to need 30 points a game, 28, 30 points a game to win games. So far this year, J.J. McCarthy, I mean, if you kind of almost Look at the career thing. It's 2 good quarters of 12, okay? If you take the 2 good quarters out, he has a 37 passer rating and is completing 53% of his throws. 2 good quarters of 12. This year, that's not great. He was the one quarterback in the 2024 class I didn't buy. It was nothing personal, but I have to see in college a wow trait. It's why I like Kyler Murray. I'm like, I've never seen a guy move like that. Size, arm, athletic ability. I got to get a wow trait. You can't tell me, well, he's a winner. What does that mean? That's like if I'm trying to hire your son or daughter and I ask you as a parent about them and you're like, well, they're a good kid. Well, you're their parents. I would hope they're a good kid. You got to give me a resume. Where'd they go to school? What is their skill set? What have they done? I got 12 quarters, 2 good ones. You know, and here's the thing. If you go to his quarterback class in college, I looked it up. Penix, Caleb, Jaden Daniels, Bo Nix, Drake Maye. Averaged over 300 yards a game. They carried their teammates. J.J. McCarthy averaged 199 yards. He was carried by Michigan. So his college career did not set him up for the NFL reality, which is you don't have the best O-line, the best coach, the best run game, the best defense, and the best field position. So, and people say, well, Colin, he'll make 1 or 2 spectacular throws a game. That's like being a comedian. 1 or 2 jokes that land does not make a great set. Right? You got to be funny for 25 minutes. You got to do a Bill Burr. Like you got to stand on stage for 45 minutes and 90% of it is really, really funny. Then you're a franchise comedian. It can't be a couple of good jokes. So I don't see the wow. In 25 games, he's played 3. I don't know what to make of it. This morning, the staff, I said, give me the total quarters, 12. How many are good? 2. That's not a good hit rate. I don't know what to do with it. So he plays the Ravens. I look at the schedule, Baltimore, Chicago, Green Bay, Seattle. There's some offenses there. Lamar, Caleb, Jordan Love, Sam Darnold. You got to put some points up. Here's Kevin O'Connell. 2 of 12 is not even a good batting average. Here's Kevin O'Connell.
I've always thought J.J. is a very, very high-level processor of information. I think the way I would equate it to, it would be like, if you're a high-level chef making a meal, we try to put the ingredients out on the counter and then leave the instructions right next to the ingredients and then potentially, have up until 15 seconds to help guide the crafting of that meal. That's how we try to do it, so it's not just show up to the stadium and figure it out all on your own.
I like the ingredients. I got no problem with the ingredients. It's the chef. I don't know if can bring it home. Like I said, left tackle, star receivers, head coach. I love the ingredients. Defensive coordinator Brian Flores. I'd hire him in a heartbeat. I love all the ingredients, but you got to make that land on my plate. I don't see it. Mike Sando is an NFL writer for The Athletic, selector for the Pro Football Hall of Fame. So, I said this, great seeing you, Mike. I watched Bo Nix, and he has regressed badly. And for young quarterbacks, the development is never linear. They have bad stretches, bad games. They can lose a coordinator. So I understand that. Yeah. But I think he looks nervous. I think he's trying to please Sean Payton. Sean Payton's then overcompensating on trying to help him. The rhythm is off. I don't know. Something feels off and wrong. Mike, what do you hear and what do you see with that?
Yeah, I agree. Now, I do think one of the warnings you get from veteran coaches is, hey, that second year can be tough, right? People adjust to you. They got the film on you. He had some success last year, so you're probably getting people's plan a little bit more. I think so much of him has been, he's a little bit of an off-schedule quarterback sometimes. Yeah. And so we're dealing with that in a lot of markets where's the consistency when a big part of your game is moving around. And sometimes when you come into the league early, moving around actually helps you. You survive, but it's not sustainable. We see Arizona's changing away from Kyler Murray because they feel like their offense is going to be more consistent. Even with a backup type quarterback like Jacoby Brissett, they can run their offense. So I think there's some of that. You would think that, Sean Payton would be the perfect person to get the best out of him, but this has to be the least impressive 7-game winning streak that we've ever seen. It's like, how have they done it? It does not look sustainable at all.
Yeah. So let's go to Caleb Williams. I had said this earlier. Sometimes we zero in on stuff and we don't take a step back. And I think most Bear fans, even Ben Johnson, if you would have said, listen, through 8 weeks, you lead the NFL in big plays, you're 4th in yards per play, and you have a winning record, I think Ben Johnson would have said, I'm signing up for that based on last year. But if you watch every play, and if you listen to Chicago sports radio, there's a lot of anxiety. And my take is, folks, there's a lot of the dynamic stuff is landing. Where are you on Caleb and Ben and that relationship?
Well, the thing I look at is he's on a historic high average time to throw or sack, 3.6 seconds per play. That's not where it's at for Ben Johnson. So I think it's a stressful way for him to play. I give them credit. I think that it's, look, this could have been a disaster possibly, or we could be talking about every week like it's not working. I don't think we're doing that. But when you talk about the long-term sustainability and really maximizing this player in this system, I still have those question marks. Although I will say that, hey, the sacks, is not the story every week, and he's not killing it that way. So, and his completion percentage has not fallen way off. It's about the same. It's kind of interesting to me that he's like avoiding sacks, holding the ball forever, not like he's throwing them all away. So it's kind of working. I still need to see long term, how, if there's going to be a lot of growth, or I think there's still a lot of inconsistency there.
Yeah. It's interesting, Mike. He's never thrown picks. High school, college, pros. He doesn't throw picks. So he holds the ball. And I think that psychology within him is, listen, I'm not going to throw a pick. I'll hold it a little longer because I can escape. I can move my feet. Yeah. So he doesn't get you in a lot of trouble. There's not a ton of 3 and outs. He doesn't throw a lot of picks. It's just to your point. The rhythm is off. The operational part of it's a little clunky, right?
Yeah. Yeah, I'm going to look at this too, because I think one of the fears, I knew a couple guys, in the scouting realm who had some concerns about him being off schedule to the point that you're playing behind the sticks a fair amount, and I think like for Seattle when they had Russell Wilson, that worked for a while because he was a magician. I mean, the positives were so amazing, and pretty early in his career, downfield throws, the accuracy, he made it work. In fact, once his legs went, he couldn't do it anymore. And I haven't necessarily seen that enough consistent upside. I do think it's amazing that the explosive play thing. So that's positive. I think I feel better about it now than I did the day after that big article came out saying it's going to be a disaster. Remember that?
Yeah.
Everybody hated Caleb Williams that was there last year. So I feel better about it now than I could have, but still probably need to see more.
Yeah, listen, the J.J. McCarthy thing, I said before, I love all the ingredients. I love the coach, the left tackle, the receivers. I like the organization. I don't know if we have the right chef. The J.J. McCarthy thing, I didn't love him out of Michigan. I didn't see a wow trait. I'm always so reluctant to embrace this term. He's a winner. Danny Werfel was a winner. That doesn't mean anything to me. You got to give me traits, size, arm, movement. Boy, if you start taking out his 2 best quarters, his passer rating's 37. Now, the next 4 weeks, it's Lamar, it's Darnold, it's Jordan Love. So the truth is going to come out here. What do you see and what do you hear on J.J. McCarthy?
Well, it's nice to see something that he actually played the game. I think that's been the biggest problem is he hasn't been out there. And I think, some of those concerns that were sort of boiling underneath the surface about, is he ready to lead the team and all of that? I mean, that just grew until he could finally play. So I have not been overly impressed. I loved the end of the game against Detroit. I mean, throwing a back shoulder ball more than 15 yards down the field to ice the game is not typically done in those situations. So I thought that was a nice vote of confidence, but he had 14 completions. Some of the other stuff, alter ego stuff, like to me, you got to play well for a while before I stop thinking that's kind of corny. Do you know what I mean? Like, we got to, like, there's too much of that. I felt like there's been too much effort by the organization and the people around him to make it seem like it's like they're excited about it. Didn't you sense that all off season?
Yes, yes.
This guy. It's been like a campaign to convince us, and I just want to see it, and I'm not buying it until I see more of it. That's just kind of where I'm at.
Yeah. So the AFC playoff picture, I told the staff this morning, I don't buy it. I'm sorry. Literally, Denver is a number 1 seed and leads the NFL in 3-and-outs and punts. It's not going to last. I look at it and I said, I'm still going Mahomes, Lamar, Josh Allen. I don't care. I look at it right now. Here it is right now. I told them, Jacksonville's not making it. Kansas City is, and they'll beat the Colts. The Chargers don't have they don't have their tackles. Nobody loves Harbaugh more than me and Herbert. They're not making it. Put Baltimore in there. They're beating Drake May, and I'll take Buffalo over whoever. But I look at the AFC playoff picture right now. There's no way that's what it is in 2 months, right?
Totally. I did my pick 6 column on Monday, restacking the AFC, and I put them in 2 buckets. The consensus favorites before the year, Kansas City, Buffalo, and Baltimore, those 3 teams have the worst record to this point in the season. They're like 14-11 than they've had since, like, Josh was a rookie and Lamar was not even a starter, right? So it's totally different in terms of what their record is. But it would have to get a lot worse for me to come off of those teams. Like, Baltimore is only 3-5. It's not like they're 1-5 anymore. So I'm with you totally. I don't think a lot has changed. Now, I do understand, though, I'll say this. I think there's enough of an opening for a team like an Indy to actually think we have a chance and let's make a push, right? I think that's so it's different. We don't feel like any one of those teams is necessarily consistently great or unbeatable at the top.
Yeah. You know, there were stories out there that Tom Brady was not hot on Sam Darnold. And there were stories that they wanted Matt Stafford, but Matt wanted to stay in L.A., and it was a smart choice.
Yeah.
So they pursued Geno. So Pete Carroll had a year out of the NFL to modernize, reflect, take stock, and they paid him $66 million guaranteed and gave up a 3rd-round pick. J-Mac asked this earlier. Could this be a one-and-done for Geno and Pete? I mean, it's just nothing is working, Mike.
I always wonder, like, you know, can a top coach overcome bad ownership? You know, how does that work? And how much is the ownership better with Brady there? I thought about that, too, because Pete's going to be 75 going into next season. If the takeaway from this year is that we're a 3-year plan away, is that for Pete? Now, do you fire a Pete Carroll after 1 year? To me, it would really have to be, like, they had a game this year, they played the Colts. They got outscored 40-0 in the 2nd and 3rd quarters. If that type of thing is happening, then I think anybody isn't coming back, right? That no one survives that when you're just totally uncompetitive. The game the other night was just so ugly, but they were at least there. It wasn't like they were losing 30-0. So I would think Pete gets more time. It has just felt a little weird to me. The way it came together, where it's like Chip Kelly probably wouldn't have been Pete's choice. Patrick Graham was already there, probably wouldn't have been his choice. I kind of agreed with that because you don't want Pete just getting the band back together with a bunch of guys that need Pete to have a job necessarily. But
right.
I'm not sure how, like, think of it this way. When you're a head coach and your calling card is changing the culture, it's not like Pete Carroll's coming in and bringing a differentiating offense or defense, right? You're not getting an advantage through the scheme like you might with Sean McVay or Kyle Shanahan. You're really relying on the culture to turn. Number one, can you turn a culture of a bad organization? And number two, how long does that take to happen? Like, think about Dan Campbell was 4-19-1, and he had Jared Goff, who's a good pro quarterback.
Right.
And then he finally kind of hit it with Ben Johnson. But, like, does anyone think that they're going to wait that long? Is this a 5-year plan with Pete to get every aspect of the building? I think they need to start to see it to turn this year. And if he makes it, it's got to turn by the middle of next year.
Yeah. Mike Sando, senior writer, The Athletic, on a Friday as the temperatures cool in the nation and the aviation forecast is not great. Stay out of airports, America. Mike, it's great seeing you.
Great seeing you. Appreciate it, Colin.
All right. Mike does terrific work. Yeah, it's an interesting idea by you, is that It is. It's hard to turn around a culture. I mean, the reason Harbaugh took the Chargers job was Herbert, right? Like, that's why you take the job.
Obvious.
It doesn't matter who the owner is. It doesn't. You bring your band. You bring the band. Dean Spanos now in L.A. with SoFi, his huge game day revenue. The money's good. You go for Herbert. That's why we have said for years, we know Sean McDermott's a good coach, but if they get bounced in the first round, that's the best job in the NFL.
Right.
So it's most of the great quarterbacks right now have good enough coaches. The Raiders, we don't know if it's the coach, the quarterback, ownership's not great. There's money. It's just hard to turn this stuff around. I mean, again, you can do it if you land a Josh in the draft or Harbaugh lands a Herbert in his move. It's just, if you don't have the quarterback right and you got to rebuild the culture, it looks like the Raiders.
Yeah, well, it's funny. After I said that on social media, guys coming after me, hey, J-Mac, you want to keep Aaron Glenn, but you want to run off Pete Carroll. And I said, well, those are different things. Pete Carroll's a veteran coach, right? Coming into a Raiders team that, I don't know, they were like maybe a 7, 8, 9-win team.
Yeah, we thought so.
And he kind of handpicked his quarterback. Aaron Glenn got, hey, here, this is you. You could bring in Justin Fields. You could do it. I'm giving Aaron Glenn, a first-time head coach, a chance. I just wonder if Pete Carroll's the right fit there. I mean, Chip Kelly we like a lot. We know the ownership group has some smart people. I just don't know how they landed on Geno Smith, of all people, because, Colin, he looks shot. Right?
Yeah, no question.